Guys, welcome to Dance IT Network. For today's video, we'll talk about EtherChannel. What is EtherChannel? EtherChannel is a Cisco technology used in networking that allows you to aggregate or bundle multiple switch ports on a switches or routers into a one logical port interface. The good thing about this EtherChannel is you can get more bandwidth. It is good for redundancy and load balancing. An example here on this network. So switch 1 and switch 2. Imagine if we don't have Ether channel, then the spanning tree protocol will take responsibility. What will happen is it will block, the spanning tree protocol will block these three ports, right? And as you can see is we can only use just one link. But if we will use the Ether channel, we can take advantage of it. We can combine these four links into a one logical port interface. Okay, so this link, each link actually is connected to a fast Ethernet port, and the speed that we can get on a fast Ethernet port is 100 megabit per second. Again, by combining all of this four, then we can have a total of 400 megabit per second. Okay, let's say one link goes down. It still is we have connection. It's because the other remaining three links are connected, of course, with the use of Ether channel. And last good thing about Ether channel is the load balancing. And we have three ways to configure Ether channel. Number one, LACP. LACP stands for Link Aggregation Protocol. It comes with the standard IEEE 802.3AD. This is the most common used one in IT industry because it is compatible with the Cisco and non-Cisco devices. And we will focus more on this video tutorial about LACP because it is included on a CCNA exam. We should know how to configure and verify LACP. LACP has two modes. The first one is the active and the second one is the passive. And in LACP, there is a negotiation happening on an Ether channel link dynamically. Number two, PAgP. PAgP, this stands for Port Aggregation Protocol, and this is a Cisco proprietary, meaning it is only compatible with the Cisco devices. And there is also negotiation that is happening on an Ether channel link dynamically on PAgP. PAgP has two modes. The first one is the auto, and the second one is the desirable. So if we will compare the LACP to PAgP, it is just like the LACP active is the auto on the PAgP, and then the passive on the LACP is the desirable on the PAgP. Let's proceed to number three, static ether channel dash manual mode. So on this part is there is no negotiation that is happening. Instead is we need to configure it manually. And to tell you, this is not recommended to use on a network, but still is we need to know how to configure it in Cisco CCNA. Before we configure the Ether channel to this network, let us assign first the IP addresses to all of the computers that are connected to the network. So as you see in here, this is the switch 1 and this is the switch 2. So on this switch 1, we have here one computer, okay, and I have it labeled here the IP address that we need to use on this computer, and as you see, it is a 192.168.10.10. So I put it on a 10 network, okay, and we will also put this computer on the VLAN 10. So then network is matching the VLAN ID. So 10 network and then VLAN 10. And also I put the 10 host because I am planning to put it on the fast Ethernet 0/10. Okay, so too easy to identify. And then on this computer in here, we'll put this on the VLAN 20 and we'll register the IP address 192.168.20.20. So you notice that it's on the 20 network and then VLAN 20 and then 20 hosts, then we'll put it on the fast Ethernet 0/20. Okay, and the same thing in here. So VLAN 10 and 10.11, and in here VLAN 20, 20.21. So let's open this computer and desktop IP configuration, and I will register the IP address 192.168.20.20. 192.168.10.10, and then 255.255.255.0, and then there's no default gateway since we are working only on a layer 2, so we don't have any router. Okay, so 10.10, there you go. And I'll open this computer, desktop IP configuration, so 192.168.20.20, then subnet mask, there you go. And over here, the same thing, desktop IP configuration. This is 192.168.10.11, subnet mask, K255.255.255.0, there you go. Then last, desktop IP configuration 192.168.20.21. There you go. And we are done with the computer. So now that we are done in registering the IP addresses to all of the computers, now let us create VLAN. So we'll create VLAN 10 and 20 to this switch 1, and we'll also create a VLAN 10 and 20 to this switch 2. And after creating the VLAN, we will register the computers to the correct VLAN as it was instructed. Okay, so let's open this switch number 1 first. Let me spread this command line interface. I'll hit enter to get started, and then enable to go to the privilege mode. I'll type here COMT to go to global config mode, and then I'll create VLAN. So VLAN 10, okay? And I'll give it a name, let's say just simple VLAN 10 without space. And then I'll type exit and I'll create another VLAN. So VLAN space 20, there you go. And I'll give it a name, let's say VLAN 20 without space. There you go. And then Control C. Let me type here show VLAN brief to see if it was created. So as you've seen here, okay, so we're able to create the VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. And now let us register the correct ports. Okay, so I'll type here COMT to go to global config mode, and then I'll go to the interface F0/10, and then I'll type here switch port mode access, and we'll register this F0/10 to the VLAN 10. Okay, so this is the command switch port access VLAN 10, of course. There you go. And then I'll type here exit. Let's go to the interface F0/20. And we'll do the same thing, switch port mode access, and then switch port access VLAN 20. There you go. Then Control C. Let me type right to save the configuration, and I'll type here show VLAN space brief. There you go. So as you can see here, this is the VLAN 10, and now the F0/10 is registered to the VLAN 10. Same thing on the F0/20 is registered to the VLAN 20. Okay, so let's do the same thing on the switch number 2. I skipped the part in configuring the VLAN and the switch number 2 to save time on this video tutorial. Anyway, registering or configuring VLAN is just easy. And to show you the proof, I'll open this SW2, I'll hit enter to get started, and then enable, and then show VLAN ref. Okay, so as you can see here, that's I create the VLAN 10 and 20, and ports are registered to the correct VLAN. Okay, and also what I did in here is I configured the host name, so I changed it to SW2 so that it matched as it was labeled on the packet tracer, so SW2. Also, I did the same thing on the SW1, so as you can see, SW1, it is matching the name as it was labeled. Okay. All right, so now let's start configuring the Ether channel. Well, in order for these computers to communicate to the computers over here, okay, with a multiple VLAN, then what we usually do is we are making this link as a trunk port, right? But what we have in here is we have a four links, but we can also do that. We can make all of them as a trunk port. So one trunk port in here, trunk port, trunk port, trunk port, but that's a lot of work to do, and it is not practical, right? That is why we have here a ether channel. Is what we can do. We can combine all four of them into just one logical interface. Then after creating a one logical interface, then we can make it as a trunk. That's easy, right? And an advantage is it will increase our bandwidth times 4 because there are 4 links. Okay, and it will also add a redundancy and load balancing. All right, so let's do that then. Let's go to the switch number 1, and then let me spread this. So Control C on the keyboard. All right, and then I'll type here COMT to go to global config mode, and we need to go to the interface fast Ethernet 0/2 up to 5 to cover them all under the switch number 1. Okay, so I'll type in here interface range and then F0/2 up to number 5. Oh, let me put space in here. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we are on the range, and then next that I can type in here, I'll type question mark for you to see. Okay, so we'll be using this command and the channel dash group. All right, as you can see, ether channel port bundling configuration, and that is good. Okay, so I'll type that channel dash group. Okay, and then space question mark. So let's use the number 1 as a group 1. Okay, we'll put that. Okay, and then space question mark, and we need to type the mode. So ether channel mode of the interface. Okay, let's type mode and then space question mark. Now we have options. Okay, so either active, auto, desirable, on, and passive. So as I mentioned to you a while ago, we'll just focus on the LACP, the link aggregation protocol. Okay, so it has a 2 mode. All right, so number 1 is the active. All right, as you see here, enable LACP unconditionally, and then we have here the passive. All right, so enable LACP only if a LACP device is detected. All right, so we'll enable the active and the switch 1. All right, we'll use this active in here. So I'll type that. Okay, so active. Okay, later on is I'll explain. Okay, so I'll type here active and then space question mark, and the command is complete. Let's hit enter. There you go. So as you can see here, so from 0/2, 3, 4, and 5, you notice that change state to up. All right, there you go. And I'll hit enter and then Control C. Let me type right to save the configuration, and I'll type here show run to view the running configuration. Let's check and scroll up. So as you can see here is we're able to create a interface port channel. All right, this is the port channel 1. All right, and let us check the 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what happened? So as you can see here on the fast Ethernet 0/2, there is a command channel dash group 1 mode active, and then this one same thing in here, same thing in the 4, and same thing in the 5. So what happened on this 4 is they were combined into just one logical interface, which is this one. So interface port channel 1. Okay, so now let's move to switch number 2. So we'll do a slightly different configuration in here. So what we did on the SW1 is we enabled the LACP mode, but we choose the active. Okay, so on this switch 2, we'll be using then the passive mode. Okay, so I'll explain this now. So let's say, for example, on the switch 1, we enable the active mode, right? If we will enable the active mode in the switch number 2, then the result will be there is a ether channel link. It's successful, or it will be successful, all right? But let's say if I will put passive on the SW1 and then passive on the SW2, then the result will be no ether channel. So it will not form a ether channel. So that is not good. Okay, and then next, if I will put here active and then I will put on the SW as passive, then there will be an ether channel. Okay, so let's do that. So let's open the SW2, and I'll hit enter to get started, and then enable, then COMT to go to global config mode, and I'll type here interface range and then F0/2 up to number 5. Okay, there you go. And then I'll type in here, it's a channel. Okay, dash group. Okay, and then it should be the same group number 1. Okay, so before I'll push this command, so I'll explain again. Okay, so one thing that we need to remember in I mean, there are three things that we need to remember in the ether channel. Okay, so they should be on the same speed, right? When we say same speed, so from switch 1 to switch 2, they should be connected on the same port. Like if it's a fast ethernet, it should be fast ethernet on the SW2. If it's a gigabit ethernet, it should be a gigabit ethernet. So fast ethernet is 100 megabit per second, and it should be 100 megabit per second on the switch number 2. And then number two is they should be on, same configuration of VLANs. Let's say whatever VLANs that we have in here configured, it should be the same on the SW2. And if they have a different configuration, then the Ether channel will not work. All right. And then last is they should be on the same group. So this is on the group number one, so port channel one. We should put this as well on the group one, which is port channel one as well. Okay, so let's open again this SW2 and let me continue in executing this command. So I'll type number one here, channel group one. Okay, so space question mark, and we'll type here modes and space question mark, and then as I mentioned to you a while ago, we'll use the passive. Okay, so passive. There you go. And space question mark, and this is already complete. I'll hit enter now. And as you see, that's all of the interfaces, change state to up. I'll hit enter and then control C. Let me type here right to save the configuration. And let me type here show run to view the running configuration. And I'll scroll up. So you'll see here on the interface fast ethernet 0/2 up to 0/5. So we have here channel dash group one mode passive. So all of them are passive. Okay, and we're able to create a interface port channel one. Okay, and that is good. And now let's turn the port channel one to the switch number one and switch number two as a trunk, and then we'll try to do a test. All right, let's make it as a trunk then. Let's go first on the switch number one, and I'll hit enter to get started. Enable to go to the privilege mode, and CompT to go to global config mode, and I'll type in here interface port. All right, channel. I mean port dash channel, and then one. Okay, and then I'll type here switch port. All right, switch port mode trunk. There you go. All right. And control C, and let me type here right, and then I'll type here show run to view the running configuration. Let's check the port channel one if it's a trunk. There you go. So interface port channel one, and now this is trunk. Okay, and that's good. Let's go to the switch number two, and I'll hit enter to get started. I'll type here enable, then CompT to global config mode, and then same thing, interface port dash channel, then one, and then switch port mode trunk. There you go. So control C, and then let me save the configuration by typing right. All right, so you see here, port consistency restored. All right, anyway though, let's do some test ping connection. Okay, let's try to ping then from this PC to this PC. Let's see if we can ping. And you notice though, all right, all of them are green. All right, so the span and tree protocol is treating this four links as a just into one logical interface. That is why they are all green. All right, so let's open this computer desktop command prompt, and let's try to ping. Ping 192.168.10.11, and you see that, so we are receiving a reply. All right, let's do on the VLAN 20 desktop command prompt. All right, and then ping 192.168.20.21, and it is working. That's good. One important thing that we need also to know about Ether channel is the load balancing. So on this network, all right, we are actually working on a layer two. It's because these are switches, all right? Everything is, communicating using MAC addresses. However, if we have a routers, then there will be a communication using IP addresses. If it's a routers, those are on the layer 3, and if it's a MAC addresses, it's on the layer 2. Okay, so how can we identify though what is the method that the ether channel is using on the switches? So let's find out. Let's open this switch number 1 and I'll hit enter to get started. I'll type here enable to go to the privilege mode, then CompT to go to global config mode, and I'll type in here port dash channel. Let me just hit the tab on the keyboard and then type question mark. You'll see in here load dash balance. All right, so it's a load balancing method, and then let me type here load dash balance. Then I'll hit the tab on the keyboard and then question mark. So as you can see here, we have here 6 options. All right. So the first one, so DST, this stands for destination. Okay. So destination IP, but we're not going to talk about, IP since this is on a layer 3. All right. We'll focus on MAC, which is MAC addresses. All right. So DST, this one, the second is destination, the, MAC address. Okay. And this one is source to destination, MAC address, and the last one here is source MAC address. And the default one that is enabled on this switch using ether channel is the source MAC address. Okay, so what is the difference in a source to destination MAC address and source MAC address? Simple, okay? If it's a source to destination MAC address, then it will show us, okay, how is the source to destination MAC address are being, distribute on a network, okay, or network traffic using Ether channel link. All right, and if it's a source MAC address, then it will show us how it is being distributed, all right, on a network, source MAC address on a ether channel link. Okay, let's do some observation on the network. Let's start with the switch number 1. Okay, and then I'll hit enter to get started, enable, and then I'll type here show ether channel and then question mark. So let's use the let's say the first one, the show port channel. Okay, so port channel, or we can type here the show load balance. There you go. So as you can see here, as I mentioned to you a while ago, that's the default one that is enabled on the load balancing is the source dash MAC. All right, you can actually see it in here. All right, so IP version 4, it's a source MAC address. Okay, and let's use the show ether channel port dash channel. Okay, and let me spread this. All right, let me spread this here. Okay, so this is the one, right? So as you can see here, so group 1, so we create this group number 1. Okay, and you see here the port channel 1. Okay, and number of ports. Okay, so we have 4, so from fast ethernet 2 up to fast ethernet 0/5, right? So 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a total of 4. And then what else? You see here port state, it's a port channel, and the protocol that we are actually using is the LACP. Okay, so this is important though, because you might get this questions on a CCNA exam, right? On what is the protocol that is being used, right? And you'll be able by typing this command show ether channel port dash channel is, you'll see here that the protocol is being used is LACP. All right, and it will try to scroll down, or let's say there's more in here, so hit the space bar and you'll see in here, so these are the ports that are active. All right, and as you see here, these are active. All right, there you go. And let's do the last one. Let's type here let's remove the port channel and let's put here the summary. Okay, so show ether channel summary. Okay, so under here, so this is the let's say here, this is the summary. All right, show ether channel summary. Okay, so these are the flags. All right, so we can refer to this code then, and then by looking in here, so number of channel groups in use. So definitely one though. So we only create one channel. Okay. So number of aggregators, it's one. Okay. And what else? So as you can see here, all right, so group, this is group number one, and then port channel, all right, it's a port channel one, and then SU, all right. So what's the meaning of this? When we can refer to this table, if it's capital S, then it is we are on the layer two, and that is correct. Okay, and if it's a U, then it's in use. All right, that is important. And also, we can see the what is the protocol that is being used in here in the summary. All right, we can also see it. So it's LACP. All right, and ports. As you can see in here, fast Ethernet 0/2 up to 5, and there is a capital P in here. So what's the meaning? It says in here that in port channel, so meaning this from 2 up to 5, this is bundle. All right, this is bundled into a one channel. Okay. If you like this video, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dance IT Network, to get more updates about Cisco CCNA. If you have any questions, suggestions, or requesting for a video tutorial, then you can email me at danceitnetwork@gmail.com, or